Hello YouTube, how is everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I got that video that I know a lot of you guys have been asking for and waiting for, and this video was basically me giving my thoughts on GTA 6 Online, how I think that Rockstar could make it to be less grindy and actually enjoyable and fun. And I know this video took us some time to put out, but I was just brainstorming a lot of ideas on what Rockstar could basically do to make the game enjoyable and make the game fun. And I know I'm going to have some people that are going to come into my comment section and they're going to say to me is that Rockstar is not going to listen to any of your ideas. I'm very well aware of that. Probably none of these ideas will probably be taken into consideration when it comes to GTA 6 Online, but it's still a fun video that I wanted to make. So this is a video I just wanted to talk about, my thoughts on what they can do to make the game less grindy. And the only thing I will say about it is if you're going to respond to me, if you're going to, critique my ideas or anything like that, at least just listen to most of my ideas and what I have to say in the video before you do so. But anyways, I wanted to say is I have, over 500 days of my life played on GTA Online. It is my most played game out of anything that I have played. And so I've done a lot of the activities in GTA Online over the years, and I can tell you a lot of the stuff that I think is bad in the game and a lot of the stuff that I don't think would work in GTA 6 Online. Now, I will say this straight up at the start here, and I know this might throw some people off, and some people might be shocked for me to hear me say this, but a lot of the businesses in GTA Online, I don't enjoy grinding them that much. I do the businesses because I make money in the game, and I like making guides for people, and I like helping people out, and some businesses I do enjoy doing. For example, the nightclub is probably one business I like doing. You fill it up, you get one big truck, and then you just drive it to, the destination. Some of the missions can be a little bit annoying, but it's generally an easy business to run. Doesn't really require much effort. But then you have things like crates, which just take way too long. You're constantly filling it up, and it just takes so super long. Heists are fun. Well, they used to be before Rockstar nerfed Cayo Perico, but basically, the point I'm getting at is that GTA Online is just too grindy. It is. It is just way too grindy. And the thing is, I made a poll a couple weeks back, and I asked you guys in the poll, and close to 20,000 people voted in that poll, and I asked, do you guys think that GTA Online, that the businesses should be more simplified? Are they too complicated? And the majority of people agreed with me that the businesses in GTA Online, there's just too many of them, there's just too much stuff to do from them, and normally, I'm not against more content. I like more content in a game, but just think about this. I made a tweet, I made a tweet a couple weeks back, and the tweet actually went viral. I'll put it up on the screen here. But basically, I was saying is that in GTA Online, think about this. You are an arms dealer. You are a cocaine dealer. You're a meth dealer. You sell counterfeit cash. You sell weed. You sell forged documents. You run a nightclub as a side business, and you also smuggle goods through the nightclub. You're an acid dealer. You're an arms dealer. Lily is you are a CEO of a large company. You're moving crates. You're an airplane smuggler. You are a bank robber. There is just so many different things that you are doing. It is just overwhelming to the player. And people a lot of times just ask me, what is the best way to make money in the game? What's the best way that you can make money? And my answer is always the same, is that there is no single business that is the best business in the game. The best way to make money in the game is to combine businesses, like buy supplies, for example, for passive businesses like the MC, the acid lab, and the bunker, and have the nightclub producing, while you do other things, maybe like crates in the meantime, or you run like a Cayo Perico or a diamond casino heist. But it's that there's just all of these businesses. There's just so much of this stuff to do, and it overwhelms people a lot. And I think that the design of a lot of it can be simpler without actually eliminating that much content. So that's basically what I'll say, is that there's just so many of these businesses. They overcomplicate things. A lot of them, they run differently. And I will say this, that the biggest problem with the businesses is that you're not doing the businesses because you want to have fun in GTA Online. The main problem with the businesses is that it feels like a chore to do. I mean, you get what I mean, right, guys? Like, it's like you feel like you have to do it, constantly. Like, you feel like it's a job for you. That's basically what you feel like when you're doing. You feel like an errand boy. And the thing is the idea of this is that we are supposed to be like, when we're playing as like motorcycle clubs, motorcycle gangs. The idea of this is that we're a motorcycle club president of an outlaw biker gang, and we're selling drugs. Like, just take the cocaine business, for example. When I sell like cocaine from my cocaine business in GTA Online, I don't feel like some, biker gang leader that's running some massive cocaine operation. I feel like an errand boy. I drive the garbage truck here, I make 5 drops, and then I go back for another truck, or my friends, drive the other 2 trucks, or I'm flying a plane, I just make a few drops, and that's it. It's like, I don't actually feel like there's a criminal element to it. And I think that's the problem with GTA Online. I think that's the problem with a lot of these businesses, is that you don't feel like there's an actual criminal element to them. You feel like you are basically, an errand boy. You feel like you're doing this as like a job. So it's not like that we're doing it for, I want to make money from businesses, don't get me wrong, but I also want to have fun, because fun is the thing that we play the game for primarily. We don't play the game, piss ourselves off with a lot of these annoying sell missions. But I think that's the problem with the businesses. And the heists, what the heists did was, when the heist first came out in 2015, the heists were fun at first, but then they got boring really quickly, and they got really annoying over time, because you needed to have like 4 people to do every single setup mission. You had to get every single person in the lobby. You'd have one person that would leave like in the middle of it, and it would just kick everyone right back to free mode. It was annoying. And then you had people that were arguing over cuts. It was just disgusting. Cayo Perico improved a lot of that, because it eliminated the stupid setup missions and did it where we can do prep missions inside of free mode. So it simplified the heist and made the heist a lot better, and it just all the different approaches for the Diamond Casino heist. That was also great. So, Cayo Perico and Diamond Casino Heist improved it, where you had the prep missions that are actually in free mode, and Cayo Perico did it where you could, do the heist solo, which was definitely a gift in itself. But you see what Rockstar did to Cayo Perico. As people were playing Cayo Perico over time, a lot of people made money from it. Rockstar nerfed it. They nerfed the payouts. They also nerfed the guards. They made the guards stronger, I should say. They did it if the guards could find bodies now. They just made the heist just basically unplayable, and it just pissed people off, and they ruined it. So I think fun should be what should be prioritized when it comes to businesses and heists, and I think roleplay should be what should be prioritized. There's a reason that GTA 5 RP, for example, that has more players on PC than the regular version of GTA Online on PC, because people don't want to deal with this grind. They don't want to deal with this these ridiculous, annoying missions. They actually want to roleplay criminals, and that's the main reason that GTA, I've always liked GTA. I've liked the GTA games. My favorite types of games are games where you play specifically as a criminal. Those are the games that I like. And so I don't like it where I'm not feeling like a criminal, but I'm feeling instead like an errand boy. So that's basically what's the issue with the businesses. The point that I'm getting at with them is that they're too grindy. They don't feel like an actual criminal business. You actually feel like you're the boss, because you feel like you're more of an errand boy. And the other issue I wanted to talk about, the issue with GTA 5, is I wanted to talk about the military vehicles. And also, I'm not talking from a script on this video. I'm talking all straight from the heart, because I think these videos just come off more honestly when I just talk straight from the heart and I don't read a script. The only thing I have is I have a few bullet points here in Notepad that I want to cover. But the other issue with GTA Online is the military vehicles. There's a huge issue with this. Now, I had made a poll about this, and this poll went viral. We had close to 45,000 people that voted in this poll, so this is not a small number. And I asked people a few different options in that poll. And I asked them, like, what they think of the military vehicles and what they think of, like, the futuristic vehicles and stuff like that. And I was actually not surprised by the results of the poll. Let me put up the poll right here. But I asked people if they want to see military vehicles in GTA 6, right? And 5% of people said that they don't want to see any kind of military vehicles. And 89% said that they're okay with military vehicles, but nothing futuristic. And 5% of people said, I want futuristic and modern vehicles. So only 5% of people actually want the futuristic vehicles. And I think that the futuristic vehicles have really broken GTA Online, because it takes away from that whole immersion of the game. It ruins the immersion of it. The griefing with the vehicles like the Oppressor Mark II is annoying, sure, but I think that the number one thing that ruins it for me is how it ruins immersion. Because think about it this way. Think about, like, if you're a biker gang, you're in an MC club with your friends, you're driving down the highway in formation, and then some guy just comes out of nowhere with a flying motorcycle and just blows you all up. It's stupid. It just ruins the immersion. It has no place in a game like GTA Online. This is Grand Theft Auto. This is not Saints Row. So that's what I will say about that. So there should not be any futuristic vehicles in GTA 6 Online. I think most of us watching this can agree with it. Now, I don't have a problem with the fighter jets. I don't have a problem with the attack helicopters, attack boats, stuff like that. Because those things were always in almost every single GTA game. Almost every single GTA game had some kind of military vehicles to it, even GTA 3 with the Rhino tank. So almost all of them had a military vehicle, but they didn't have this crazy futuristic stuff. The closest we got to that was San Andreas, but like San Andreas got away with it because San Andreas did it where it was like this prototype jetpack that you steal from a secret military base. So it kind of at least made a little bit more sense. It wasn't like you just buy a jetpack online and have it delivered to you, like you had in GTA a GTA Online. So that's what I would say is the other point, is that for GTA 6 Online, they need to get rid of these futuristic vehicles. You can keep the military vehicles, that's fine, but just please, no futuristic garbage. We don't want to see that. We don't want it anywhere in GTA 6 Online whatsoever. Okay, so now that I've got that out of the way and I talked about like the issues with GTA Online, I wanted to talk about, my ideas for GTA 6 Online and how to make it actually better. So if you guys noticed that a couple months back, Rockstar actually added these legal jobs to GTA Online. Like they added the forklift operator, they added the paper boy, they added the firefighter, and then you had also jobs like, the police officer, Vincent. You also had like the pizza delivery, the taxis. You had these legal jobs that Rockstar was adding, and then you also had the businesses of Mr. Faber, a year ago, like the car wash. You had the smoke on the water, you had Higgins Heli Tours, and these were basically a way to hide your cash. And I kind of liked the idea of it because I felt like GTA was going back to its roots with the criminal underworld, that it wasn't doing this ridiculous, unrealistic storyline. Now, this is very important, those legal jobs that I'm bringing up. Rockstar had added a career progress setup to GTA Online. I will actually have that up on the screen. So when you make a new character, and I think that this was definitely a step in the right direction, this was definitely really good what Rockstar did here, is when you start up a character, for the first time here, is you can choose a lot of different options, and I have it on the screen here. You can be an executive, a gun runner, a nightclub owner, or a biker. And depending on, what you choose, you will have a vehicle starting up with that class. You will have some clothes from that class specifically. You will also have some guns from that class. And I think that this was great because it added more to the role-playing element, but it doesn't really work in GTA Online because GTA Online is pretty much at the end of its life cycle, so that's why. So, for example, you have a screenshot here of, nightclub owner, and you have like $4 million, and you have to choose like, what you want to start with, what vehicles, what upgrades and stuff like that, and then you start out with it. Here, we have a tab of the executive, and we have the office warehouse vehicle. So we got that $4 million, how we're going to break it down, and it's going to help us start up. And I think this right here, this is the future of GTA 6 Online. This is exactly what I think that they're going for with. So let me actually show you guys here. So I had made a poll a couple weeks ago, and it was actually going to be used in this video. I'm just sorry for the delay because I just had so many ideas that I wanted to put in this video. But in this poll right here, this was 27,000 people voted a month ago, and I asked people that if they had like roles in GTA Online, what would you want to do? And I was thinking like what criminal roles we could have in the game, and we had like cartel. I put in a cartel drug smuggler because this is Vice City. This is supposed to be based on Florida. Leonida is based on Florida, and the Vice City games have always revolved around the drug trade. So we're gonna need to have drugs in GTA 6 Online. That's gonna have to be a huge part of it. And then I added the arms dealer. I added outlaw bikers, and the outlaw bikers, that's actually my favorite one, but it actually got the least amount of votes, and I think it's because people are just so sick of the biker businesses in GTA Online. But I'll actually explain how they can make bikers better in GTA 6 Online. And then we added Hitman, which I wasn't surprised that Hitman won. That was the one that a lot of people end up they do really enjoy that one. So let me actually show you guys here my first tab. So my idea for GTA 6 Online, right, is that we create roles for the game. So similar to the career progress is when you first start up GTA 6 Online, you choose a role. And I'm having those same 4 roles that I had in that poll. So this would be basically the drug dealer role. And, you start out the drug dealer role. And how this works is it's the same concept as the career progress, is you basically have some money together and you can start up one of these businesses. And GTA 6 Online needs to launch with some businesses. I'm telling you guys that, or it's going to get really boring really quickly. It doesn't need to be as sophisticated as GTA Online at first because they'll add more content over time, but it needs to launch with some kind of businesses. I just don't want to grind contact missions again, over and over again. So this is the first class. Like, this is just an example. We choose like drug dealer, and what happens is you level up the class, as you just work through it, and you have different tabs, different skill trees that you choose. And you can choose, the left skill tree or the right skill tree, and the left skill tree would be the more physical, skill tree, the one where, you actually get in there, you do more things, and then the right one is the passive tree. And the passive tree is kind of more like a passive business. It's where you're more in command of things. There would still be a little bit of a physical part to it, but it would be stuff that you can actually run. You can actually dictate stuff. Now, about this would also come with different clothes, for the characters. So for like, drug dealer, you'd have different clothes for that. And you would also start in a different part of the map. And so like, for example, for the drug dealer, I could imagine they would start in the part of the map where the docks are. And they might start with some kind of, business, some kind of like, for example, Brian Heater, he has a boating business. He has a boating business that he uses basically to smuggle drugs. And that might be that might be one of the things that the drug dealer has when they start out. They might have something like a plane that smuggles drugs, or they might have like a speedboat, and they might have different extra abilities where you have like maybe your boats have better handling, your boats have a little bit better speed, stuff like that. Maybe they unlock certain guns first, like for the drug dealer. I could imagine that like the AK-47 will be their signature gun, for example, for them. So like there might be certain guns that you might start out with, and there might be certain extra abilities that you might have. Like, drug dealers, for example, maybe they'll do like a little bit extra damage with the AK than like, other classes and stuff like that. And so you level it up and you choose what you want to do. So if we go to like the drug runner and the drug trafficker, this will be different businesses where we move drugs around the city. And this would be way better than GTA Online. This wouldn't be some, stupid missions where you're driving a truck and you drop off drugs. This would actually be stuff where you go to location, you have cutscenes, you actually do a deal, and maybe they could add some negotiations to it. Maybe they could add like a mini game or something like that, like where you actually talk to the contact, how you're offloading and you're selling the drugs, similar to the Scarface game. The Scarface game had a great system with the drugs, how you would go to the islands and you would buy the drugs, and then what you would do, you make a deal with the supplier, you can get a better deal depending on how good you are at the mini game, and then you get it back to your warehouse and then you smuggle it through your businesses. So basically stuff like that. Like I also have on the screen, I'll have some gameplay of Vice City Stories. So Vice City Stories, there was a cocaine business in Vice City Stories, and that cocaine business was way better than what we had with the cocaine business in GTA Online. And the reason I like Vice City Stories cocaine business because there was just so many different missions, and like there was one where, you go to the deal, nothing bad happens. You do the deal, you get paid for it, you take the drugs back. There was one where, they would give you the drugs, you take it back to your business, but it turns out the drugs were fake, and then you had to go and get the drugs back. There was one where the cops raid the deal. There was one where a biker gang raids the deal. There was one where the dealers betray you. So there's a lot of different ones to it. So that's what I liked about it. And imagine if they could actually add this to a more role-playing, where imagine you could actually do deals with other, player organizations. Imagine that. Imagine like they create an actual economy around the drugs, like something like you had in Chinatown Wars. Like in Chinatown Wars, you had that economy with the drugs, where drugs were different prices at different times of the week, different days, and you could get different drugs in different parts of the city and sell them for different locations. Imagine that like you could actually meet somebody that's like in a biker gang, for example, which I'll get to the biker role in a little bit. But you meet somebody that's like in a biker gang, and you can make a deal with them, and you can like, for example, sell cocaine to the other player biker gang, and they can buy it from you, and then they can resell it. So like that role play, I think that role play is the key here. That this is and I don't expect the game to be this sophisticated. Don't get me wrong with this, but this is just my idea, is that I think that the best way to make these businesses fun is, I think, through role play. Because the issue is that you don't feel like you're an actual criminal. If you feel like you're actually playing, I'm actually playing as like a drug trafficker, for example, then that would actually make the game a lot more enjoyable. It would make the game a lot more fun. That's one of the reasons that gangster games and gangster movies are so popular, is because we can see the perspective of a criminal, and we can play as a bad guy. People like playing as bad guys in games. That's the whole appeal of it. Doesn't mean that we like criminals in real life, but we just like playing as bad guys in games. And so that is what they should do. They need to create that feeling of immersion, where you're actually feeling like you're some kind of drug dealer. And if they could do the other skill tree would be like passive, and it might be where you order product, the product gets delivered, and then there might be like some strategy involved in it, like where you choose what area of the map that the product gets distributed to and like moved around and stuff like that. So that was basically my idea. There's like more of a physical role that you can level up, and then there's more of a passive role, depending on what your playstyle would be. So that's my idea there. But let me actually move on to the other ones. So right here we have the outlaw biker role, and I will also add on to this that each of these roles would also be a gang. That's what I would do. So you know how the CEOs and the MCs, it would basically be the exact same concept. That it would be like a gang, it would be like a drug gang, maybe like a cartel. You invite people to your cartel and you can work together and stuff like that. And I will also add on that for these roles, it would be that, you choose a role and you stick with it, and that's your role, and this gives you different, abilities. So, different abilities, different skills, as you're leveling it up. And what you can do is you can change it at any time if you want. So if you don't want to be, you don't want to be like a cartel drug smuggler anymore, you want to be a biker, you can change it, but you have to level up the skill tree and stuff like that. And I think that would create a different immersion. I think people would also create different characters for different roles. I think that would be cool, something like that. Like you actually feel like you're, a criminal in a crime game, and you're interacting with other players who are role-playing criminals as well. That's what made RP so popular, and that's why Rockstar acquired it. So for the outlaw biker role here is, we have the same thing. You start out the first rank outlaw biker, and you can level it up. And the left side again is the more physical option. Enforcer, road captain, where you actually do jobs for the biker organization. Maybe you like take over territory, you take over other gangs, locations, stuff like that. And then road captain, you can actually lead other bikers and lead other players or lead other NPC bikers, in a formation, and mess things up. You could actually so this role would be more for the people that like gang wars. You like actual gangs like fighting each other. And the drug one would also have a bit of that too. Maybe different cartels competing, but the bikers are the ones that would focus them more on it. And then you have the passive role on the right side, like vice president, MC president, if you want to level up that skill tree instead, and you want to follow that, where you could actually be the complete leader of the biker gang, and you could more give orders. You could tell guys to take over this part of the city and stuff like that, and there would be a whole strategy to it. But they also need to balance these roles and make it so that these roles, that one isn't too overpowered than the other, that they're all kind of equal. They're just different in their different play styles. So that's what I'll say about bikers. Don't make these ridiculously annoying businesses, because I like the bikers. That was probably my favorite update in GTA Online was the bikers, because the Lost are my all-time favorite gang. They're my favorite gang in the entire GTA series, and so I've always liked the outlaw bikers, and I like the idea of it. And I'm so happy that Rockstar didn't abandon the bikers, because this is Florida that they're doing. They have to have bikers in Florida. So I really hope that they bring back, MCs also in GTA 6 Online, but I don't want, the crazy grinding, the ridiculously annoying MC businesses, the raids, the police coming in, stuff like that. Maybe the bikers, maybe their main, drug could actually be meth. Maybe they could do that. That would be like, one of their main sources of income would be meth. Because that's what I could imagine the bikers would do. And same thing like with the drugs, the drug role, that you would start out, you'd have a biker close, and maybe the bikers would start out in Ambrosia. That's the location where the bikers are in GTA 6, which is kind of like the industrial area. You have like a clubhouse, make it better than GTA 6 on GTA Online, and you have think maybe like a double-barreled shotgun, maybe like a few other biker weapons, like stuff that I can think of. Maybe certain handguns would be for the bikers. Just think about weapons that bikers would have, and also every class would be able to use the same weapons, but maybe like certain classes would have certain abilities with weapons. Maybe like reload certain weapons faster. Maybe they do a little bit more damage. So maybe like the bikers, for example, would reload their double-barreled shotgun a little bit faster than like a drug smuggler, class. Something like that. And then you have, the Hitman role, and this is probably the role that, everybody would like. And, it starts out with Thug, and how the Hitman would work is it would work kind of similar to the payphone missions that you have in GTA Online, and you'd level it up, hired gun, contract killer, but they would be a lot better. It wouldn't be some stupid nonsense, just go over here and kill this person. It would be a lot more detailed. You get bonuses for killing them in a specific way, and there would just be countless other options. It wouldn't be like the same 5 missions that you're just doing back to back. And I can imagine that there would be a lot more stealth involved in this. There would be planning involved in this. Maybe like not to the degree that like Hitman 3 you have, but it would still be pretty fun and interesting. And maybe at the same time too is this could like link with like the other organizations. Maybe like, for example, is that you have like a job, for example, like a job to kill somebody from another organization or something like that. Maybe to like kill a player, or maybe like an NPC in like one of the drug in the cartel that the players are playing as, or maybe in the biker organization, something like that. And it would like encourage like these players, organizations, like work together, role play, and maybe even have some battles. But the PvP, it would actually be fun. It wouldn't be some toxic garbage like you have a GTA Online with people flying around on motorcycles and just blowing themselves up. This would actually be like actual gangs fighting each other, actual criminals. And then, for the more passive role, you would have you would be a payphone contact. You would be the guy that would actually be setting up the hits, doing stuff like that. And then, your higher role would be Mr. Black. If you're wondering who Mr. Black is, you could do also Mrs. Black too, I guess, for that if you're playing as a female character. But Mr. Black is the that contact that you had in Vice City. He's the guy who would, call Tommy up on the payphone and give him all the hits and stuff like that. So it could be you in a passive role directing hits, and ordering hits and stuff like that. And they'd have a way to balance this business out. And for the, Hitman role, I could imagine that, maybe they would have access to a sniper rifle. Sniper rifle, maybe like a suppressed weapon, like a suppressed handgun or something like that. And maybe like the Hitman, like one thing that I could imagine with them is that they would be the class that would be the best at stealth. Like they would have stealth bonuses. So like when they're killing NPCs, maybe like NPCs wouldn't detect them as quickly as in other classes. Maybe they're suppressed weapons. Maybe they do a little bit more damage. Maybe it's harder to detect them. Stuff like that. I can imagine that could be the abilities for like the Hitman class. So maybe they reload the sniper rifle a little bit quicker, but that might be a little bit annoying for PvP. But like we're just brainstorming ideas here. Now here, next one we have the gunrunner role. This would basically be your arms dealer role. And this is same thing on the left side. We got the passive stuff. No, on the left side we got the physical stuff, and then right side we got the passive stuff by mistake. So we have that, you start it up, and you can play as a mercenary. Maybe kind of similar to Merryweather, maybe like that. Maybe you're your own soldier, you're taking jobs, stuff like that. And then Merc Commander, maybe where you can actually like form your own, organization, and you can lead other mercenaries, other players also, stuff like that. And I can imagine that this role would be focused a lot more on vehicles, air vehicles, where bikers are land. The cartels are speedboats, so the drug class are speedboats, the water, and Vice City is you're gonna have a lot of water, a lot of islands, so I can imagine the water world will be better. And a Hitman would probably be downtown in the city, but these guys would be air. So these guys would specify specifically in air vehicles, smuggling guns by air, going from town to town, from location to location, using airstrips and stuff like that. And then you'd have the passive one where you have arms dealer, and then you have Lord of War. And I just put that as the thing because that Lord of War is based on a movie about an arms dealer, one of my favorite movies of all time. So something like that where, you can actually organize, gun deals. You can say, we want a gun deal here in the city. And imagine if you could actually, work with the other organizations. Like if you want to sell guns to the cartel, for example, a player cartel, you could actually do a deal, meet up with them, maybe do a mini game together, organize something. I think that would be cool, actually having player organizations actually interact with each other at RP, not some stupid thing where they just kill each other for some product, but like actually talk to each other in maybe like a roleplay fashion, because that's what made RP so cool. So I like the idea of that. I think that would be cool. And for these guys, for like their special abilities, I could imagine that they would maybe have like access to some pretty big firepower early on in the game. Maybe their planes would be more agile. Their planes would be actually a little bit quicker, stuff like that. And I can imagine they could have some, like I said, some pretty good weapons, maybe some explosives early on in the game, but don't make it anything really overpowered. So that's basically my idea of it, is that you have these different roles, and if you play as a role, you stick with that role. So it's not like you can be, a gun runner and a drug dealer at the exact same time. If you are one role, you just stick with it. But you can change it at any time. So it's not like you're forever trapped with that role, but when you're that role specifically. Because that's one thing I didn't like that about GTA Online, is I didn't like how you had like people it was just ridiculous. Where you had people that were smuggling drugs, smuggling acid, smuggling guns, you were smuggling air freight cargo, you were smuggling CEO cargo. It's like, literally, what kind of criminal are you? It's like it should be people that should be focusing on one specific thing, and it would also make lobbies so much more diverse, because you would find people with so many different play styles, where this guy's like playing the drug role, the cartel role, this guy's playing like the biker role, and so every single time you're playing GTA Online, you would encounter a different play style, different people playing differently. It's not like the same, like GTA Online, where it's the same thing. People just buy supplies for their businesses, sell their businesses, and do the heist, and the same exact thing every single time. So I just think this would make the game much more unique and better. Now, here at the end, I wanted to talk about payouts for these businesses and how, to reduce the grind. I think that the payouts should actually be really good. So, like, when you actually, when you are, making money from these businesses, you make money from the drugs, the guns, the hits, the meth for the bikers, stuff like that. I think the economy should be good. I don't think this should be something that requires an insane amount of grind. I think it should be something you just log into the game, you do some deals, you work together with some players and stuff like that, and depending on how many players you work with, how you run the RP, that is how profitable your organization would be. Now, I know here's the the big question. The big question here at the end is, how is Rockstar going to fund this game? How are they going to, make money from this game? Now, I put out this poll, and I'll put it up on the screen right here, but I said this, and I said, would you rather have GTA 6 Online run on shark cards, or would you prefer a season pass every half a year of each DLC that levels up just by playing the game? It wouldn't be based on money, but instead you're just playing the game over time, and the pass levels up, and you unlock everything for that DLC. Now, most people voted for preferring the season pass. And look, I just hear me out before you criticize me on this, because I know some people will be like, oh no, not a season pass. I think that if we had a season pass for GTA 6 Online, I think it would work better than with the shark card system. And just hear me out on this. We already have GTA Plus, a subscription service, and GTA Plus is not going away. Face it, it's going to stay in the game. I don't think GTA Plus should exist. I don't think it should, but it's not going away. It's going to stay there. And we have to be realistic about it. We have to be realistic, is that if Rockstar is not making money from the game, they're going to abandon the game. They're not going to support GTA 6, online like this. So they are planning on supporting GTA 6 Online, but they want to monetize it. If there's no way for them to monetize it, they're not going to make content. So, like I said, we have to be realistic about this. Now, about the season pass, the reason I think a season pass would be better and less toxic than a shark card system. The reason the shark cards got so toxic in GTA Online is because you felt like you were grinding for everything. You felt like you were rushing everything, doing everything nonstop. It's like, oh, I gotta grind this, I gotta do this business all day long to get this amount of money so that I could buy this car, I could buy this business and stuff like this, and then you'd still be broke and you still wouldn't have enough money. So I'm a grinder. I made, over $1 billion in the game, but I can tell you, the system is not good in how it is. Yes, you can earn everything you want from the thing. I've never bought a shark card before, but it's still annoying with these shark cards, because a lot of people, people don't have time to play the game and grind all day like me. I fully understand that. So they are going to, and when people don't have time to play the game, that's what Rockstar relies on, is these shark cards, and they're going to buy the shark cards. And the shark cards were like ridiculously expensive. I think it was like $100 for like 8 million. That's a complete ripoff, in my opinion. That is just way. I don't know if the price has changed, but I remember it used to be like that. So that's a complete ripoff. You should not have it at all, whatsoever, like that. So the reason I prefer a season pass system, the reason I think it will make the game less toxic, is because every single season when they release an update, and if they release an update every half a year, I would honestly prefer them releasing an update every half a year instead of an update every 3 months. So I'd rather 2 updates a year, and those 2 updates are really big. So, like, for example, like June and December, typically, or July. Sometimes they do it June, July, or December. So one halfway through the year, one at the end of the year. When they release that update, they bring in a season pass and make the season pass something like the Outlaw Pass in Red Dead Online. So we had those Outlaw Passes. Now, I know the Outlaw Passes in Red Dead Online, some of them had really garbage things in them. I fully understand that. But actually make it like an actual good pass, because you could actually finish the whole Outlaw Pass in Red Dead Online by not having to pay for it. So you didn't actually have to pay real money for it. You could just, finish the whole thing. You could earn gold as a currency, and then, you could buy the pass and stuff like that. That's what you based it on, but that's because you could make the microtransactions online in Red Dead Online as you were playing through the game. I think if they had a season pass, how it would work is you would have, 6 months to basically finish this season pass until the next update, 6 months. And I think that's way more than enough time for people to, finish the pass. And the pass, how it would work is you can choose what part of the pass you want to start out on. And this would not be some Call of Duty garbage. So just don't think it's like Call of Duty or anything like that. This pass would be free. You're not paying any money for it. It would just be something that you level up in the game. And if you want to, if there's a new boat, for example, in the season pass, if you want to start out the boat, you'd be like, okay, I want to choose to start the pass here. And you can hit the button, you start the pass there, and you start leveling it up there. And you can unlock it in whatever order you want. And as you level up the pass, as you go up each pass, you unlock money also. So you get money from that. So maybe the first level of the pass, maybe you get $100,000. And then second level, you get maybe $200,000. And maybe it doubles every single time. Third level, you get $400,000 or something like that. Maybe it goes up to 50 levels or 100 levels or something like that. And so you can just complete the entire pass. You can get, and you unlock free items. So you unlock free items, you unlock free cars, and you unlock free clothes, and maybe guns and stuff like that. But then there would be some other things that you actually have to purchase, and those things you can just purchase with just the in-game money. So not even like a microtransaction or anything like that. like that needed. And all of the items in the season pass, you could buy that on day one. So you can also buy it on day one, but it might be a little bit more expensive in the store. So like it might, but when you complete the season pass, maybe the items are going to be like half off and stuff like that. And to level up the pass, you only need to play the game. So it would not be based around a grind. It wouldn't be based around a grind. It wouldn't be based around the amount of money you have. It would just be you playing the game, just doing activities, and maybe some certain things you do, like certain activities you do in the game. Maybe that will boost your pass and make it go up a little faster. But generally, it would just level up over time as you're playing the game. You don't even need to kill people. You don't need to make money. Just driving around playing the game, and that would be really good because people wouldn't feel like they're going for this crazy grind, doing all of these businesses and stuff like that. So I think this type of season pass would work better than what you have in GTA 6 Online. Like I said, I want to repeat myself because I know people are going to put words in my mouth. This pass is free. You don't actually pay money for it. It is just levels up through time. You can choose what part you want to start, and you would get discounts on the items as you level up the pass, and certain things you also get free. Stuff like that. Now, I know you're wondering. The answer to this question is, but how would they make money from this pass? Professional. If the pass is free and everything like that, how would they make money? Well, one simple way is that if you don't feel like doing the entire pass, you can just pay for it. So you can pay for it with real money to skip it. And I'm telling you, I know people would pay for that. I know people would skip that because I have played a lot of games with people where there are season passes and people buy the season pass. I don't ever do that. I don't ever, skip the pass. I typically always just play a game whenever there's a season pass and I just finish the season pass. But there are people so many people I played with and they just buy the pass like on day one. They don't even attempt to grind it. And when I ask them like, why did you buy the pass? They're like, oh, I don't feel like, going through all this stuff. I just want all the stuff right now, here and there. And that will make Rockstar plenty of money right there. So like when those season passes come out, there'll be people that will just buy it. Most of us, watching this video, I know most of you guys will just grind it and play it over time. And 6 months, like I said, is plenty of time to finish the pass. This would not be some insane grind. So I think a system like this would be better than, shark cards. And I know people are going to tell me in the comments, but I don't want anything. I don't want shark cards. I don't want season pass. I don't want GTA Plus. But we also have to be realistic about this. I'm not defending the corporate greed and all this other stuff. The only thing I'm saying about this is that if they don't have a way to make money from the online, they're not going to give you content. And face it, I hate shark cards, I do, but shark cards are what gave us the DLCs in GTA Online. We have all these DLCs, the heists, the businesses, all of that because of shark cards. If Rockstar was not adding shark cards, they wouldn't have bothered with all of those businesses. They were originally planning on abandoning GTA Online after like a year or two because it wasn't going as popular as they wanted. But then when they added heists and a bunch of other stuff over time, the game just got really popular and more people started playing it. So that's ultimately what I think. I think that GTA 6 Online would work great with like these roles. I think it would work great if it was focused on roleplay. I think it would be, great if they got rid of the shark card system instead of the free season pass that you can, buy, or you can play through the game and not have to actually pay money for it, and you can just get everything, or you can, pay real money to skip it, and that would be how Rockstar would make it. So this would be like a way that you can play GTA 6 Online, you don't have to pay any kind of money, you can fully enjoy the game, and you can get free content over time. That's just my idea for the concept, and I know people are going to tell me they're not going to listen to any of your ideas. I fully understand that. They probably won't. Maybe they probably won't even listen to 10% of my ideas here. But this is just a fun idea that I had for a concept for GTA 6 Online and something that I wanted to do. So this is how I would have designed GTA 6 Online. But tell me in the comments, do you guys like my idea for GTA 6 Online? Do you think this would be better? Because as somebody who grinded the game a lot, I did a lot of grinding on the game. I can tell you that this was just a disaster with GTA 6 Online with the grinding over time. Some of the businesses were fun, but it just got really annoying. And whenever I ask people why they stopped playing GTA 6 Online, because I had a lot of people that watch my GTA Online videos back in the day. I don't get as many views on those as I did back in the day, but I fully understand why. It's because people got bored of the game and they don't play the game as much anymore. And so I always ask people, why do you stop playing GTA Online? And they always tell me, oh, it's the grind, it's boring, it's stuff like that, just getting stale. And I think that GTA 6 Online really needs to avoid that. Add the role playing, add it where we can actually feel like an actual criminal. I don't want to feel like an errand boy. I don't want to drive a truck around, make 5 drops, and and get paid for that. I want some actual role playing that we're focusing on. Like, I want to actually feel like a drug dealer. I want to actually feel like a biker, stuff like that. I want to feel like an arms dealer. I want to feel like a hitman. I don't want to feel like an errand boy. So let me know what you guys think down below. And again, I said this all from the top of my head, no script. I was just talking all of this straight to the heart to you guys because this is how passionate I am about it. This is how strongly I feel about this. So I always feel like whenever I I talk straight from the heart. I don't use a script. I always feel that my videos are always the best when I talk like this. Because I'm just giving it to you guys directly how I feel. I'm not reading off of something that I typed up. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below. And if you agree with my ideas, if you agree with what I said, like this video, share it with other people so that this video can go viral and more people can watch it. So maybe people at Rockstar can see it and they can also make the game the way that I described here. But thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful day, guys.